All right, so the next step in getting this Google form to work for you is adding in an extension called Appender. So it's a Forms add-on. So you can just Google it, install it. It's already installed for me, so it's there. It's already approved by the county that I'm in, and it should be for most counties. So there's Appender. You're going to go ahead and install that, and then you're going to go to your rubric. So if you notice up here at the top, I've got a lot of updates I need to install. You're going to click this little puzzle piece, and you'll find the add-on Appender. And click Open Sidebar. Then what you're going to do is you are going to come over to Student Name and click on this question, and you are going to select a target doc folder. So let me explain what I'm doing with it, and then I'm going to give you some other options if you don't like this. So what I'm planning on doing this year is starting what I'm going to call a feedback doc. So I am going to start a Google Doc for each of my kids, and it's literally just going to say, here's your feedback for this year. Let's see if it will load. All right, so I've created a Google form that says your feedback 2020-2021, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to name the Google Doc with that name. I am then going to make a copy of this, and I'm going to make it for each student in my class. So I'm going to say, since I'm a forensics teacher, we'll do John Doe. Okay, and then it would be their feedback form, and you would copy it. A faster way to do this, though, when you go to do all your students, is don't do like that. That would take forever. Come back here to the folder where you're going to be creating all these files, and go to List View. And actually, you'll want to keep your master copy somewhere else if you decide to add more information to it, because every single document in this folder needs to have a student name. So what I can do is I can go up here, press rename, and I'm going to rename this to Jane Doe, your feedback 2020-2021. And I'm going to click on a student. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to say make a copy. And then give it a second. And then I'm going to click rename. And I'm going to add my next student, so Pando. Okay. And then I can keep doing that for every single student in my second period or in your course. Yes, this part is tedious, but you will only have to do this once for the entire school year, and then you never have to do it again. So let me show you how much easier this life is going to make your life. So you come over here to your rubric, and you are going to, again, pull up Appender and select a target doc folder. So I'm going to pick from my drive. I am going to come to my second period class. Oh, sorry. Just go to folders, just highlight second period and press select. Press next. And then you're going to tell the form how they're going to fill out this option, because you're going to tell Appender. So it's going to say select question. Sometimes you have to refresh. It might not do it right away. So there we go. So the question that I want my document titles to fill is I want those document titles to populate right here under student name. The cool thing about this is if you add a student later, all you have to do is come back to this Google Doc and save and populate again. So you just have to come click one button and it will update your roster with how you've updated the folder. So then you click next. And then This is the part that's going to take a second, but you only have to do this once every time you make a rubric. You're just going to click all of the questions that you made, all the feedback, all the different ways that you are assessing with this. So there you go. And then you're going to pick separate vertical tables and enable. All right, so then that's it. Your form's ready to go. So when you're ready to use your form, it's going to look like this. And I'm going to save you guys the time, and I'm going to go ahead and grade this student real quick. All right, so here we go. I've got the Serial Criminal Podcast as my rubric. I've graded Jane Doe. She got a 5 in this first section. She was missing the birth date, so I clicked that. She got 4s on all these parts of the case details, but for when, she forgot to make sure to list the actual location in the city where this crime took place. A cool thing is, now that I've graded this first kid, I know a couple kids are going to make that mistake. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go back to my form if it wants to let me. So I'm back over here at my form, and I'm going to go to this question, and I'm going to now add that as an option for feedback, because I know kids are going to have that mistake in this project a lot, and I don't want to have to type it out every single time. So for this girl, I can just leave it as the typed one. So I'm going to keep going, keep grading, and then the last 2 pieces of the rubric were about discussion and personal thoughts and creativity. So I gave them their score, and I gave them some feedback. I love that your mom and your sister were your guests in the podcast. And now I've completed everything. I'm going to press submit. And if you share this document with Jane Doe, and once you've created all your documents, the easiest way to do that is to click on a name, come up here, type in Jane Doe into the share feature, and their name and email should pop up if your school uses Google emails for students. You share that document directly with that student only. And then when I click on, I think it was Jan Doe that I graded, the rubric is automatically there. It has the timestamp of the exact day and time to second that you graded this assignment. It has their name. It tells them exactly what they scored in each section and feedback that went with that section of the rubric. And it's all in one Google Doc. And the cool part is what you can do. And so this is a very long rubric right now, right? Students can, if they want to format it a little easier for themselves, can just kind of stretch the table like this, and it really condenses down the rubric. The cool part is you can make every single rubric you make feed to this one document. And so all their feedback for the entire year will be on this one document. It's great for IEPs, it's great for parent-teacher conferences, but it's also good for students to be able to go back to one place to see all the comments you've ever left them that year, which is just amazing. And there are other things you can do with this. So if you don't want to link it to something like this, let's say you don't want to commit to doing this for every single thing you're going to do this year. If you use something like Google Classroom or another online learning platform, like we have in our county, It's Learning, where you can create an assignment and connect a Google Doc to it. The cool part is that when you do that, if you search the name of that assignment in your search drive, it should pull up a folder that was created by that platform for that assignment. And you can use Appender to select from that assignment specifically, and it'll go ahead and put the feedback right on their assignment after you're done grading. So it's kind of cool. There are a few workarounds with that. I know for our instance on It's Learning, students can't submit the assignment because then it disappears from Google Drive. So as long as they don't submit it, they just open the document, they can receive feedback that way. The only thing that stings, like I said, is if they submit the assignment, you can no longer go back and change that. One interesting feature about using it like this, these are actually completely editable. So if I graded this person and then they come and talk to me and maybe they want to argue a section or they do something to change their grade, I can pull up their feedback sheet, and again, all the rubrics are in one place, and I can say, okay, no, I'm going to change this. You got, an extra point here. I'm going to give you 11 points, even though this one's only out of 10. You can come document that feedback so you remember, so that the student remembers. Now, if you do this, you will have to update the grade manually, but at least you are getting a place to store it that won't get lost. So that's just another reason why I highly suggest just doing a feedback form for all your students. You could even have your students create these themselves. You could create a class folder, give them all permission to add a document, make them all title it correctly, and then share it with themselves and then cut off their feedback from the folder. I want to say that would work. I'm going to try to make a video to make that happen. And if I can figure that out, I will share that information. And that way you wouldn't even have to have your students, or you wouldn't have to create those documents yourselves. Your students could create them for you. All right, so that's it for Doc Appender. I'm going to definitely come out with more videos on other tools that you can use Doc Appender for. I think it's really awesome. Like I said, all I have to do is create this document once, and I have a place to store all my feedback for this one student that they have access to and that I have access to and no one else has access to. So it's a great tool to be able to use in the classroom. All right, and now I'm going to show you how you can then take your responses and make your rubrics grade themselves. So see you next time.